This one?
Yeah. Hello, folks. This is Anthony from Honda Snowblower Enthusiasts on Facebook and YouTube. My son's helping me today with the camera work. I don't know how much I have to pay him, but we're going to give him some compo chicken, okay? But anyways, today I want to tell you really quick the 5 things that you never do with your Honda Snowblower. Now, this will save you money. And if it doesn't save you money, I will give you double your money back, even though these videos are free. Thank you for subscribing. Our whole goal here is to help you save money and do-it-yourself maintenance and repairs. So there's 5 things that you should never do with your Honda Snowblower. So let's get started. The first thing you never do is you never use hardware bolts in exchange for actual shear bolts, Honda shear bolts. Now these shear bolts are there for a reason. It's a cheap insurance policy. Here's your little auger shear bolt. It's $1.29. It goes in your augers here. It protects this very expensive auger gearbox. Now look what happened to somebody that used a hardware bolt. It didn't break like it should have. It's going to cost this owner $300-400 to repair. So it's really cheap insurance to use Honda shear bolts. You got your impeller shear bolt, which is $5. You got your boss pin that goes on down here on your auger, down here, and I think it's like $3 or $4, okay. And then you've got your wheel, your drive wheel shear pin also. And what I've seen over for years and years, people don't carry enough spares. They should have 4 or 5 of these shear pins, a couple extra auger impeller shear pins, and at least 1 extra boss pin, 1 or 2 extra wheel shear pins. And what they'll do, they'll run out in the middle of a storm and they'll put in a hardware bolt. Now, what you're doing, folks, when you do that is you're putting very expensive components at risk. You're putting your auger shear box at risk. You're putting your final drive gearbox at risk. You're putting your hydrostatic transmission at risk. They're all very pricey to repair, anywhere between $300 and $700. So it's always better, isn't it better to spend a couple dollars on a shear pin? Now, if you're in the middle of a snowstorm, people will say to me, "Hey, Anthony, I just stuck in a hardware bolt and make it through the storm. And then, when the storm's over, I'll go down to the Honda dealer and I'll get some more shear pins." You can do that if you want to take the risk. But I'd rather take out my shovel and finish my driveway rather than losing a transmission. So that's the first thing. Don't use regular hardware bolts instead of Honda shear pins, okay? The second thing is that if you have an electric start, you don't keep on cranking your electric start. If it won't start, just don't keep on cranking and cranking and cranking. Let me show you. If it's not going to start, most Hondas will start on the first pull or the second pull. If you have an electric start, they usually start right up. And if they're not starting right up, what you're going to do is you're going to do what happened to this guy here. He burnt up his electric starter. This electric starter is toast. It's no good. He kept on cranking it and cranking it. This is the old electric starter where you plug in with an extension cord. his machine wouldn't start. He ended up burning out his electric starter. And they're very, very pricey. They're $600, $800 to replace. So you don't want to burn out your electric starter. If you can't start it with your electric starter, you may have some other issues. You know, you might not have a spark. You might not have fuel going to the carburetor. It might be something else. But the main point is don't over crank your electric starter and let it get hot and burnt out. The third thing I tell people is never put your Honda snowblower away all clogged up with snow and ice. What's going to happen overnight is the snow and ice is going to freeze up on you, and then you might have problems the next time you need the machine. If you got a lot of snow and ice in here in your bucket, and the bucket has a drain hole at the bottom, you can't see it, Joseph, but there's a drain hole at the bottom that drains out the water. You got to clean out all the snow and ice, okay? If you don't clean it out, it's all going to freeze. And what's going to happen, the next time you need your machine, it's going to be all frozen and hard, and a lot of people will try using it anyways. It'll be frozen. The augers won't move. The impeller is frozen to the drum. And meanwhile, the pulley wheel is moving inside the machine. It's burning up the belt. The belt's not turning. And the pulley wheel's not turning because everything's frozen, and you're going to end up breaking the belt. You're going to burn up the belt over time and break it. And it's an aggravation. It's annoying. It's something that you have to repair. I've seen that many times. So all these tips are going to save you money. In some cases, a lot of money. Okay, the fourth thing that you never do, and I don't like people using their machines on gravel. Now, unless you've got your gravel tamped down with ice, if there's ice over the gravel, that's fine. But too many people are using machines on gravel. You need extra clearance from your skid shoes. But if you're eating up dirt and gravel, you're throwing those rocks. They're missiles. You're throwing some rocks, you're gonna end up breaking windows, breaking, your car windows, your neighbors. People walking by, they get hit by rocks. And not only that, I'm going to show this bucket, Joseph. The rocks are going to hit inside this bucket here. This is the drum. And the rocks are going to be flying around inside the drum, and it's going to make a hole. It's going to burn a hole through your auger. And I've seen that many times, and I've had to repair a lot of buckets with rock damage. But the main thing is that you're putting people at risk. You're putting property at risk with those pebbles and rocks flying out of your chute. Okay, so I don't really recommend using your Honda snowblower on gravel. Now the last thing is that you don't want to use your hands and feet to unclog a machine. You want to use a stick. You want to use a part of a broomstick. You want to use a stick or a little shovel. If you got clogs in your chute or your augers, you want to be cleaning it out with a tool, not your hands. The emergency rooms are filled with people with accidents from snowblowers, and the machine doesn't even have to be running for this to happen. I had several years ago, I had a pine cone stuck in there. I shut off the engine. They tell you to shut off the engine. They tell you to unplug the spark plug. And I reached in there with a stick, but my hand was under here trying to get the pine cone out. And when I freed the pine cone, there was built up tension because the belt was really, really tight. And when I freed up the pine cone, the auger in the impeller shifted. It sprung. And the auger teeth hit my arm. I had a heavy jacket on. It still went right through the jacket and went into my arm and cut my arm. Now, can you imagine if it had really, really sprung, or the engine restarted, or the engine was running, and the augers continue to go? You're losing an arm, or you're losing a foot, or whatever. So that's one thing. Last thing, you never use your hands or your feet to unclog your snowblower. Okay, folks? So I appreciate you watching. If this video has helped you save money or helped you in any way, please like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.